What is up, Minnesota? Welcome to episode 6 of the Minnesota Wild franchise mode with your Stanley Cup champion Minnesota Wild moving into season number 2 as reigning Stanley Cup champions. In the last one, we had quite the off-season because we knew that although we won the Cup, we were not in dynasty territory just yet, and we had to make some changes. We had a big surprise in Mike Hoffman re-signing with the team. We thought we were going to lose him. We had some growth from guys like Eriksson and and Greenway, and we signed Phil Danault in free agency along with Zach Sanford for the bottom 6. Phil Danault, probably the best third-line center in the entire NHL. I'm not afraid to say it. Love Big Phil. Over on defense, it was quite the overhaul on defense, as Ryan Suter is the only name coming back from last season. Ryan Murray, John Merrill, Julius Honka, and Zdeno Chara, all free agent signings. And Leon Botter, the 6'4" German, batter me up like a butterball turkey. He was the 5th overall pick in the draft. We traded the 25th and 31st overall selections plus Jared Spurgeon, which was a big contract we had to get off the books, to the St. Louis Blues for Leon Botter. He is wild he was 17, just turned 18. For having those kinds of stats at 18 years of age, he is going to be a cornerstone on this team moving forward. He fits the first pair quite well, so he'll be up there in no time. We signed Zdeno Chara to be like a mentor for him. We were going to roll with Carson Soucy, but he'll just be a healthy scratch. We're going to move on from Sami Vatanen. It seems like he's in the last year of his deal. He doesn't fit the chemistry either, so we're just going to move on from him. But concerning defense, like we were saying, Zdeno Chara is going to be a mentor for Leon Botter. The guy is literally, look at it, 44 and 18. The guy, he's played more years than Botter's been alive. Honka was a surprise as well. We found him in free agency. We're going to pass on him. Well, we weren't even going to sign anybody else. But when we saw that he was available with that potential and the chemistry scheme fit, it was just a match made in heaven. Plus John Merrill signed in free agency. So defense is looking good. Goaltending, we have Elvis Merzlikins signed long-term. He's in the last year of his $4 million deal right now. Then he has a 5-year, $3.5 million extension kicking in, I believe, backed up by Capo Kakinen, who we're waiting to hear back on extension from him as well. Like we said, Soucy's going to be a healthy scratch. Frédéric Gauthier, another healthy scratch. And Vatanen, we will likely be moving on from him. But we still had a lot of questions moving into this next season concerning lineups. Do we play the certain players that we have right now in the roles that they are in? Do we want to change other things around? Do we want to still make further moves? And do we dip into free agency and possibly send an offer sheet to Mikhail Sergachev, who is still here, only wants 5 years at $5.275. If we go over and look at the Tampa Bay Lightning here, they are in some cap trouble, mostly due to us trading Victor Rask to them at the draft, $4 million contract for 2 7th-round picks. They offered it to us, so it would suggest that maybe we try and trade for Mikhail Sergachev, but if we signed him, it would cost a 1st and a 3rd. Minnesota would have more than 45 skaters. Yeah, it wouldn't be able to happen. We could throw in maybe just a 1st-round pick. Let's see if this is crazy enough to work. If we just traded Sami Vatanen and a 1st-round pick, just hopping right into this before we even look at anything. Where's Sami Vatanen? They do want him. A 1st-round pick and then be over the... Okay, forget it. That's not going to happen. Okay. So yeah, the Lightning less than $1 million in cap space, mostly due to them making that Victor Rask deal with us. So thank you, Tampa. I don't know why you made that trade. You put yourself in cap trouble, and now we might just swoop in and steal Mikhail Sergachev. It was all a conspiracy theory. It was all a big ruse to try and get them too close to the cap and then snatch him up with an offer sheet. But before we can even think about that, we'd have to dump Sami Vatanen, and we have other things to address. So let's hop right into the comments. First things first, we have to address the question of the captaincy. Joel the Jukes, he always knows what he's talking about. He says Ryan Suter should be the captain. He's been with the Wild for years. He's an older vet with tons of experience and now a Stanley Cup ring. He's a good, solid defensive defenseman who screams leadership material. As for the alternates, Parise should get one for the same reasons, and both are vets, long-tenured players, all that good stuff. So they're going to retire soon, and you want them to go out with the letters. By that point, you can give the letters to guys who are NHL ready, like Rossi or Kaprizov, who are definitely going to be the future of this team. As for the final letter at the moment, pick someone who you think will be here a long time. Monahan isn't a bad idea. That way you have Suter, Parise, and Monahan as letters right now. Then in the future, maybe Monahan takes the C, Kaprizov and another young guy gets the A. Great video as always. Thank you, Joel. That's exactly what I was thinking when I was thinking about the third A, especially. We knew about Suter and Parise. I was going to give it to Chara right away just because of the veteran presence and everything, but in this role he's going to be having as more of a leadership guy playing third D minutes. He's just here for the ride. He'll be a leader, but I don't think I want to give him the A because he might even be a healthy scratch if we can get Sergachev, if we can swing him on this team. So I think it came down really, we're talking about this on the live stream actually on Monday night. It really comes down to Monahan and Bonino. So two good leadership guys who are on this team, going to be playing all 82, barring any injuries. Bonino, of course, bottom six, more of a leadership grinder kind of guy. Monahan playing those first line minutes. Parise and Suter are already stars who kind of have it. So we could go really either way on this. But the edge does go to Monahan, I think, due to him being around for a longer time. Bonino has like max 2 more seasons here, and that's even pushing it probably. So I think giving it to Sean Monahan makes the most sense, who's going to be in a leadership role for this team for years to come, as I don't see him ever being less than a second-line center, even if Rossi were to surpass him. Yeah, the captaincy now. We gave the captaincy to Parise in the playoffs last year so that he could raise the cup. So I think that's fair enough. He got the captaincy to raise the cup. He was happy. But the real long-term captaincy, I think that goes to Ryan Suter. Just screams leadership material, like Joel said. Defensive defenseman. Maybe it's a bit of bias in my head. You know, I think of defensemen who are captains. I think of Giordano. I think of Weber. I even go further back. I think of guys like Rob Blake. I think of Adam Foote when he went to the Blue Jackets. I think of guys like that. So Captain Ryan Suter moving forward with the alternates as Zach Parise and Sean Monahan, the first official captain since Mikko Koivu, and we're just going to move on like that. And speaking of future players, a ton of love for Leon Botter in the last one. Ethan saying, love what I see from Botter. Apo saying, Leon in the house. Great video as always. Thank you. Zachy, Botter's already physically ready for the NHL. Don't expect him to get injured. I don't think so, eh? 85 durability already. Would not be surprised if he's just a truck. Explicit 23 quoting me here. Get the bread and Botter out, boys. That's gonna be a classic. Get ready to hear that a lot. Jay Birdie, Leon Botter, the next Ryan Suter. That's true. Ryan Suter is more of an offensive defensive defenseman, but nonetheless, he is listed as a defensive defenseman and will be the one to take up the mantle here on the Wild moving forward. Concerning any trades that we may possibly make, there were some suggestions I'll go over in a second for a few of these guys, but I also went through the NHL and looked at guys who have low value but high overall, and I threw them on the watch list. Guys like Teuvo Teravainen, 86 overall. Look at that trade value. I could easily trade Ryan Johansson to Carolina and get Teravainen in like a second-round pick. Obviously, that's a little too crazy. I don't want to cheese the system like that. But look at that. First-line playmaker. It says he fits the first line. It says he fits the power play. Has a great contract, so maybe he's someone that we look to acquire sometime this season or even moving forward. Even other guys, Pesci, Kravtsov, good guys with good potential and good overall who don't seem to have a lot of value. Jake Bean, 83 overall, almost no value. Offensive defenseman who fits the third deep pair and the penalty kill. Maybe he's someone we look at as well down the road. But there are a couple comments here. Jay Birdie talking about Nick Suzuki. We're going ahead and scouting him right now. We have 3 bars that he fits the second line. We'll get back to him later on. And I'm Vix here talking about Matty Barzal. Look at Barzal's trade value for a 90 overall. He signed for 6 more years at 9.2. He says Barzal trade value was low for a 90 overall. Maybe try and work something with retained salary. Looking at the value, could trade Johansson for Barzal 1-for-1. But maybe throwing in a prospect or goalie prospect would be more realistic. Even then, Johansson and a good goalie prospect for Matty Barzal. I don't know. It's not that I wouldn't do it. It's just that I have Monahan as the first line center. Rossi's coming up in the system. I don't think it really makes sense to try and get a new number 1 center after we made that big move last season for Monahan and we just won the cup. We had great success. May as well just run it back and not try to bring in more big names who would also cost big money when we'll have to re-sign younger guys in the future. Also, Matt Dumba, we're always keeping our eye on him. That's his trade value with the Calgary Flames at the moment. We'll have to scout him a bit, but mostly right now just trying to scout Suzuki most of all to see if he could be a good fit for the second line center. But again, he would be second line center for the moment, but probably transition to the wing later on when Marco Rossi got to the point of being good enough to enter the top 6. And also, just to quickly touch on this comment from Brahma Bull fan, he says, how can it be possible your coach has such a high team fit, but you only get a +1 on your forward lines? Take some time to double check if any coaches like your big guns. So our head coach right now, Dennis Popovich, A- rated, Daniel Popovich. He has a 70% team fit. He likes all the big guys pretty well, just that not as full bar as other guys like Murray or John Merrill, but he does have a lot of love for Kaprizov, Monahan, Suter. So I did give it a look, just so you know. I looked through all the other coaches, and no one really had a better team fit or loved the Stars as much. And I don't want to break up the 81% staff chemistry either. I think I'm going to keep the coaching as it is for now, but I would not be opposed to changes in the future. The last YouTube comment that we'll look at comes from Noah. He says, steal Sergachev from Tampa on a 1-year deal. Probably won't cost you more than a second rounder. So it's true. We could offer him a 1-year deal, which would be even cheaper than the 5.25 that he's asking for. But for such a low ask, I think I'd rather sign him long term if we were to go after him. So Sergachev, he wants for 1 year, only wants 2.8, so that's twisted right there. Absolutely twisted. 1 year, 2.8. What do you have to give up? Just a third-round pick? So let's say 1 year, 2.6 million. It would be a second-round pick. So that's just crazy. 1 year, 2.6. But the thing is, if we signed him 1 year, 2.6, then he wants like 7 years, 8 million or whatever. So I'd rather just go 5 years at 5 million, for example, and really make sure that Tampa can't get him unless they made some moves, if that were to be the move. And speaking of Sergachev, we had a big debate about it over on the Discord server. That's why it's very important to be in the Discord server. Look at the link in the description if you want to join. But we were hashing it out about the possibility of going after Mikhail Sergachev here. And we're talking about the possible deep pairings and who's untouchable. We just signed some free agents. It wouldn't make sense to sign a free agent and then put them in the press box and stuff like that. But Weez was replying here and giving me some very insightful knowledge. And he's saying that if Sergachev is willing to sign that contract, then you have to do it. Merrill can sit, Honka can sit, Chara can sit, none of them are Sergachev. And I said, yeah, it's really hard to say no, and they can all sit. I just don't like signing guys and then having them scratched. It wouldn't help morale in the real world. But Weez comes back and he says, it's more like you sign those guys to compete for roster spots. And it's true, we are a Stanley Cup champion team. A guy that signs a contract on this team is not necessarily guaranteed a spot like how John Merrill signed on Detroit in the real world. This is a Stanley Cup caliber team, and you got to compete for your spot here. Hobbsy also made a fantastic comment, also full of great insight about chemistry and where these players might fit if we were to go after them. So you can pause and read this here. But thank you, Hobbsy, for taking the time to think about the +1s, the +3s, and all those things. That's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that it's easy to make suggestions, but you got to think about the bigger picture. So with all that being said, I think I would like to send an offer sheet to Mikhail Sergachev. In the real world, Minnesota would never do this. They have great defense. But in this world, where Brodin was an 82 and Spurgeon was an 84, and they were traded away and were Stanley Cup champions, and Sergachev's rotting in free agency, and now it's October 3rd and he still doesn't have a contract, I think this makes sense to send him an offer sheet. But before we can do that, we have to get rid of Sami Vatanen so that we have an open roster spot. Sami Vatanen came here in free agency last year, gave him a 2-year contract thinking he'd stay for both years. Now he wants an extension at over $5 million. Last season he played all right. He had 27 points and was a +1. No problems from Sami. His highest season in a few years even. But I think we're going to have to move on from him, especially with what we're being faced with. And he would just be more than a healthy scratch. He'd be like a secondary healthy scratch. No teams want him, so I'll have to go and do some searching. So I would like to send Sami Vatanen to an Eastern Conference team, a team wherein he would also fit the lineup, not a team like the Hurricanes who wanted him, who they have way too many defense already. So the Rangers, he'd have a spot in the lineup on the Rangers. They're well under the salary cap. They can afford him. Their status is buyer, so it all makes sense. Sami Vatanen, I know we're not going to get much for him. So how about a 7th round pick? Still rejected. I was able to dump Victor Rask's $4 million contract at 79 overall for 2 7s. So you're going to tell me I can't get 1 7th for Sami Vatanen? But whatever. Trade values are broken. We're not going to break our heads about it. I'll give you Tampa's 7th with Vatanen for a 7th in return. Wow. 6th round pick next season. Trade accept. There we go. So Sami Vatanen and next year's 6th round pick to the New York Rangers for this year's 7th. Thank you very much, New York. We have lots of cap space. We're in a very nice spot. And now we're going to go send an offer sheet to Mikhail Sergachev and these menus. And just because we send him an offer sheet, it doesn't necessarily mean that it won't be matched. So we need to brace for that possibility as well. That's why we have a backup in Carson Soucy as depth if Sami Vatanen is gone for nothing. So we're going to try 5 years, 6 years. We could go 6 even. I don't think the Lightning are going to be able to match that, but let's see. It's gonna. Oh, no, hold on. Sorry, we can't go 6 years because then it costs a first. Okay, yeah. So first, second, and a third if it's 6 years. So we will go 5 years. That makes more sense. But that also means I'll reduce the money here a little bit. I'll probably go 4.650. Let's try that. 4 points, because it doesn't want to be too low. I don't want it to be so low that the Lightning can match it. So actually, let's go 4.850 for 5 years on Mikhail Sergachev. A first and a third round pick. Let me know what you think, Mikhail. That would be crazy. And we'll begin simulating into the regular season. There's a few days. Let me know if you want to get in on this action against the Flames. And wow, Capo Kakinen, 5-year extension at like 0.9 million we got him on. So I don't know how long he's going to be our backup, but he's a good backup, and that is a cheap contract. Thank you, Mr. Capo. Let's see what Sergachev says. Even if he signs it, it's going to take a few... Yeah, he won't be able to be here for Calgary because they'll still have the opportunity to match. Yeah. All right, well, in the meanwhile, we're going to go ahead and begin the season. There still are questions about Eriksson Ek at the center position and other chemistry ideas that Hobbsy was talking about as well. And we could look at the forward chemistry. The defense don't need to be there for that. He wants to know what the chemistry looks like with Eriksson Ek, Greenway, and Hoffman on the second line. Gives it a 0. That's, yeah, because no one really fits the second line, actually. Hoffman's okay on the second, Eriksson Ek's not great on the second, and Greenway's the worst on the second, so that does not work, unfortunately. We could go, like we saw right there, Parise, Kaprizov, Monahan on that first line gives it a +3, which is awesome. But then where does Eriksson Ek go, right? He kind of has to stay on the second line, and then that means we have to put someone else on the second line. We could put Johansson here, but then Fiala drops to the third line, and Fiala, we really want him to grow. So I think I'd rather just keep the +1/+1 for the moment, and we'll make changes as we go from there. Greenway is getting first power play time, because I really want him to grow there as well. Greenway, I've heard good things about him growing, so we'll just try like that to start the season off, and we'll see where it goes. But to start it all off, of course, against the Calgary Flames, Sean Monahan's old team, Sam Bennett's old team, going up against Matt Dumba and Matt Zuccarello of their old team. It's going to be a classic here in Minnesota at the XL Energy Center to begin our Stanley Cup defense here in the 2021-2022 season. Let's do it. First period, 0-0. Second period, 2-1 Calgary. Dubé and Tuola score for the Flames, but Mike Hoffman brings us within 1 as he scores on Jacob Markstrom. Shots 25-18 for the Flames at the moment as we are down by 1 here in the third period against a very good Calgary team. We know them. There we go. Eriksson Ek on that second line ties it up at 2. Maybe this is a big season for Eriksson Ek. I don't know. Maybe it's big. Power play killed off by the Flames. That second line role may help him out. He was playing bottom 6 last year. Now he's playing second line center. 2-2 late in this one. Are we headed to extra time? Yes, we are. 35-28 are the shots for Calgary here in overtime now. 2-2 game. And it is finished off by Philippe Danault. Welcome to the team. In his first game, he scores his first goal, and it's a game winner in overtime as Philippe Danault wins it 3-2 the final and captures the second star of the night. Big night for Elvis as well, making 34 saves. That's what we want to see from this Minnesota Wild team. Let's go. We don't know if this episode is going to go all the way to the end of the season or just halfway through the season or just the trade deadline, but we'll just take it as we go. Sergachev, what do you say? There we go. Okay, I've decided to accept your offer as presented, but it's not a done deal just yet. I won't be able to join your organization right away as my previous team has a chance to match your offer. So once again, let's go check out the Tampa Bay Lightning. We gave them Victor Rask, which kind of put them in a tough spot. They have like 130,000 in cap space. I don't know why they're not dumping Victor Rask. I don't know why they are not making something work, but it's looking possible. Let's keep on simulating. Chicago Blackhawks, we lose 4-2 against them. Come on, Tampa, just say no. Just say no. Okay, Boston Bruins. This is a tough matchup against Boston. Eastern Conference. Mikhail Sergachev, welcome to the Minnesota Wild. 4.85. It's been resolved. The Lightning have chosen not to match your offer, and it will cost a first and a third round pick. okay, no problem with me. I'm happy to be joining your team, as my original team did not match the offer sheet. Forget about them, Mikhail. Forget about them. Your future is in Minnesota. What a turn of events. The crazy offseason continues of surprises. Welcome to the team. 7-2 loss. Yeah, get on defense. We need your help. Let's fix up those lines. All right, so here is Mikhail Sergachev in the lineup. His chemistry, he fits best on the first and third pair, not so much on the second. But with John Merrill, it keeps a +1. Now, in the future, he could play with Suter and get a +1, and then Murray gets a +3 with Merrill. Or he could even play with Murray on the top unit and get a +3. He could also play, let's say Botter's a future guy, gives it him +1. So at the moment, just right now, I think Sergachev playing the second pair is okay. Getting the +3 for Suter and Murray is pretty great on that top pair. So I'm okay with Sergachev just getting a +1 on the second pair. He also gets power play and penalty kill time, so I don't think that he'll be suffering at all. Like I said, we could put him on the first pair with Murray, but I don't think moving Ryan Suter down to the second pair makes as much sense. We get +1/+1 on the penalty kills here with Sergachev. He only gets a dash, but that's okay. Last season playing with Tampa Bay in 82 games, he scored 28 points, -6. We'll see how he does on the Wild now, but absolutely crazy to say the least. Did not expect to be getting Sergachev. Another surprise, and he's going to be a big fixture with Leon Botter moving forward. Murray's going to be big on this team as well, I think, but when we're thinking long term, I think it really comes down to Sergachev and Botter on the back end with guys like Kaprizov and Rossi in for the forwards. Speaking of Rossi, up to a 78 overall. He's playing with a +3 with Matthew Boldy. Also got Mason Shaw, Alex Kovanov, a lot of good prospects, some good names. Kalen Addison getting a +5, Belpedio. Lots of good. We're looking well here in the Minnesota Wild franchise. We're looking good in the AHL and the NHL, and let's just get some simulation done. Also, by the way, I took Julius Honka out, as you'll know. He fit best with chemistry, but he was like a -4 through those first 3 games, so I thought if anyone were to come out first, it would be him. But of course, whenever there's injuries, Julius Honka will be coming in. I know it won't help for his growth very much, but I'd rather have Honka healthy scratched than Zdeno Chara at an 84 with his 4.5-star defense and 90 shot blocking, etc. So we'll begin moving into the season. Don't have any set game in mind. We'll just start simulating. We'll go maybe 10 games in, and we'll take a pause and see how we're looking. Mike Hoffman was injured for a bit. That's okay. And we'll see where we're at game 10. 4-1 loss, 2-1 win, 3-2 loss, 6-5 win. That's a big one there. 2-1 loss. Yikes. Couple more games. 3-0 loss. Oh, goodness. One more game. Come on. Let's get a 4-6-0. Please. 5. Wow. We're 3-7-0 to begin the season. Oh, boy. This might be not as long of an episode as I thought it would be. Rize, 7 points in 10 games. Eriksson Ek with 6. But look at these plus-minuses. -5, -3. Fiala, 4 points, -4. Kaprizov, only 2 goals. Putting Parise on that top line may be the key to unlock Kaprizov as well. Johansson, 3 points, 1 +1. Sergachev, 3 points in 7 games. Yeah, John Merrill, -4. Sam Bennett, -4 on that fourth line. Why is that fourth line doing so badly? Even Botter, -3. What's up with the Merzlinkins out here? 3-5-0, 899 save percentage. Oof, and Kakinen. Whoa! 804 save percentage. Only 2 games, but 5.46 goals against. What is going on? Let's hope that it just needs a little tweak out here. I did put a bunch of guys on the trade block, like Johansson and Bennett. Did I put Bennett? I put Johansson. I put guys who have 1 year left. I think Bonino's even on there. Yeah, just put a few names on the block just to see what would come up. But okay, let's try Hoffman and Parise swapped here. And Fiala going to be moved down with Marcus Johansson. We'll try to maximize Johansson. If it's not working, then we'll just get him out of here. He might be a trade candidate, but let's try what he can do and see what he can do on the first line. We could always put him on the first line, give him the +5 with Hoffman, I think, if you play him on the first line. Yeah, but we'll keep it just like this for the moment. That fourth line is really shocking. A -2, -1, -4 from Sam Bennett as an 82 overall with decent, more than decent defensive stats, 89 stick checking. That should not be happening. So we'll have to keep a close eye on that. Hopefully the goaltending can wake up. I don't want to have to stop this video already, like at Christmas time, to see what you guys have to say. But let's keep on going, see if that first line fix does anything. We'll give it a little experiment. Let's do it here. Ottawa Senators. Great. Elvis, injured hamstring. Not out for long. We got to call up Alex Stalock. And he has to go through waivers, doesn't he? If we call him up, he has to go through waivers. If we send him back down, he's an 81 overall. He'll definitely get picked up. You know, I'm going to risk it because I'm not going to send him back down, I don't think. Let's just keep him up for the rest of the season. And we can send somebody else down. Kakkonen, he's been struggling. He woke up a little bit there. He came in relief. But let's try Alex Stalock starting between the pipes here. What's he done in the AHL? 2-2-0, 9 with 2 shutouts. Both his wins were shutouts. Yeah, okay, let's give Stalock a chance to run with it. Jones will be backed up by Betty Boat. There we go. Derek Betty Boat. Ottawa Senators 6-2 win. Very nice. There we go. A little change there. 4-3 shootout win. Okay. 2-0 since the line changes. Merzlikins is back. Merzlikins. And then we're going to have to send down... How did Stalock do? 2 games, 2 wins, 901 save percentage. Yeah, that's all right. And you know what? We'll probably send down Susie. I know the odds of him getting taken are decent at an 80 overall, but that contract may be enough for people to say no. If he does get taken, you know, it's 2.7 off the books. I'd feel bad if we lost Susie, but... You know, Honka's the guy who's coming in for relief, so he's not going to get much playing time out here. Susie goes down. All right, he'll be in Iowa. And then a 5-3 win, 7-4 loss. Quick pause here. Got to fix those lines in Iowa. My apologies. I fixed the lines in Iowa, but then I forgot to keep recording, and I simulated another, like, 5 games or so. But Susie's going to be playing second pair with Belpedio with a +3. Then we had an injury. It was a broken nose to Zach Parise, and that kept him out for just, like, I think 3 games or so. 4 games, actually. Fred Gauthier came in the lineup, 1 goal in 4 games. Good for him, and we'll go back to the normal lines now. Parise back in there. Perfect. So just to update you here now, we had a 2-1 loss against the Devils, then a 5-0 shutout win, 5-2 win, 3-2 win, on a good streak there. 3-2 shootout loss, all right, but then right back at it. 3-0 win, 4-2 win, 4-3 win. We're back in the win column. 12-9-1 is the record. We got to go see this game against the Tampa Bay Lightning, of course. Mikhail Sergachev's old team. They are currently 12-10-0. Very similar record to us. Sergachev is one of our leading point scorers, I believe, as well. I saw his points briefly for a second. I think he's 2nd or 3rd in team scoring. Actually, no, he fell down a bit. Still, at one point he was leading the team in points, but 14 points in 19 games for Sergachev. He's killing it, and the rest of the team is following suit. Phil Danault, 15 points in 22 games. We're starting to wake up a little bit. Still not sold on a guy like Marcus Johansson, playing top 6 with 10 points in 22 games. It's good. Eriksson Ek, though, 9 points is what scares me more. I'm really looking to move Eriksson Ek, I think. We need to take a pause and think about that a bit more seriously soon. But at the moment, at home, up against Tampa Bay Lightning, Mikhail Sergachev wants to do some damage against his old team that let him go. He won a cup with them, and he came to the team that won the cup the year after. Let's do it. First period, 2-0 Lightning. Yikes. Yanni Gourde and Mathieu Joseph. All right. Second period, 3-1. Alex Killorn, but then Kirill Kaprizov. So we're down by 2, shots tied at 19 here in the final 20 minutes. Let's go, boys. Let's get a little jump in the step here. A little jump in the skates, in the strides. Halfway through the third. Shots, only a few shots per team here. Not a lot of action going on. Power play Tampa late. Kill that off. Only 5 minutes to go. Come on, boys. No, an empty third period. No events whatsoever. Wow. All right. And we dropped that one 3-1. It's always whenever we're on a winning streak and we go in to watch a game, the winning streak always ends. It's the curse of going to watch the game live. If we calendar sim that, we probably would have won. Who knows? Okay, so let's move into the month of December now, around Christmas time, and we'll take another look at our record and pause in a few moments, but let's see if we can get a few more games under the belt there. 5-2 win against the Dallas Stars, Honka's old team. Iowa head coach can do that. Vegas Golden Knights, we lose 2-0 against them. They're a good team. Then a 4-3 shootout win against the Edmonton Oilers. Ducks, okay, December 1st. Anaheim Ducks, they're 17-9-1 at the moment. And we lose 6-2 against them. Great. And then 5-2 win against Vegas. Okay, 15-12-1. Let's do 2 more games to get to the 30-game mark, and then we'll pause and reevaluate. Big 7-1 win, and then another 7-1 win. Back-to-back 7-1 wins there. That's what we needed. 17-12-1 is the record through 30 games. So through the first 30 games, Kaprizov definitely turning on the Jets here in his sophomore season. 35 points and 15 goals through the first 30 games. Already closing in on his career high, his rookie season high of 59 points. Getting close. Behind him, Sean Monahan, a point per game at 30 and 30. Beautiful from our first line center. Parise 25 and 26. Beautiful. The first line is killing it. Mikhail Sergachev and even Ryan Murray, both with 20 points as defensemen. Love to see that, especially Sergachev, who did it in 27 games. Really, really very impressive. Phil Danault, 19 and 30, playing third line minutes and a two-way forward. Great. Mike Hoffman sleeping a little bit. 19 and 30 is nice, but only 4 goals. After he scored 30 goals last season, only 4 goals this year, which is a bit odd. Yeah, Johansson, Fiala, both with 15, Suter 14, Greenway 13. I'd want to maximize Greenway more, but he doesn't fit the second line. It's like he'd have to jump from the third to the first. I'm not sure if he's ready for that jump yet. Eriksson Ek, 10 goals, but only 2 assists and 12 points and a -3. But 10 goals nonetheless. Sanford, Bennett, they've turned it around a bit. 7 points each. Leon Botter, 6 points, 4 goals, a +4. Benino, 6. Chara, 5 with a +6. He still has some gas in the tank. And going down there. Elvis, 10, 8, and 1. But wow, look at Alex Stalock. Elvis, 10, 8, and 1 with 1 shutout, 910 save percentage, and 2.67 goals against. And Alex Stalock, 7, 1, and 0. 1 shutout, 903, and 2.57 goals against. Maybe we extend him. I don't know. He's on an expiring deal. Kakkonen, he's here long term. Those are really weird numbers. It was like reversed last season, and now Stalock 7, 1, and 0. That's crazy. 7, 1, and 0 as a backup. 34 years old, 81 overall. We'll take it. In the entire NHL right now, it's looking like all the big boys, McKinnon, Matthews, Pacioretty's up there, 25 goals and 37 points. But Kaprizov, he's close to the league lead, just 6 points behind in 2 less games. Eric Stahl, of course, here he is, 33 points in 32 games with the San Jose Sharks. Signed a 1-year, $6.48 million deal. Yeah, we weren't going to be able to compete with that. Lafreniere's already killing it on the Rangers, 31 points in 29 games, up to an 87 overall. Pavelski has 30. Now that it's been 30 games, our scouting reports should be complete on the players that we want to learn a bit more about. I think it takes a lot less time than that, but I kind of forgot about it, so, you know, guilty as charged, but let's go check it out. Let's see where Nick Suzuki fits, if we learned anything more about him. He dropped in trade value. Oh, he dropped a lot in trade value. Oh, yes, he really did. Yeah, he guaranteed fits the second line, it says. Playmaker, 72 faceoffs. See, I get Nick Suzuki, and I trade Eriksson Ek for him, but then who plays center? That's the question. So maybe we trade Eriksson Ek. Suzuki plays for the wing. Johansson moves down, but we still need a second line center. And we could go Hoffman, Suzuki, and like, is there a good power forward second line center that we could look at? So we go second line forward, power forward, and overall, not overall, so we're going to look at faceoffs because we want him to be a centerman. Faceoffs at least 77. Let's go. So it just gives us centermen, hopefully, or people who are center eligible. Not many. Kirby Dach, Ryan Getzlaf. Yeah, there's not a lot of options there. Ryan Getzlaf on the Dallas Stars. Fits the third line, he says. We don't know about the second line. Kevin Hayes, we don't want to touch him, and that's a crazy contract. Plus, he doesn't fit the lines at all. Anders Lee, he has 78 faceoffs and fits the top 6, but 5 more years at $7 million. So it may have to be someone who's not necessarily a power forward per se, just good line fit. So let's just go, same thing, second line forward, good face-offs, but let's just say any player type. As well, we'll also say overall at, max overall of 86, I guess. Between 81 and 86 or something like that. 25 results. Who really makes sense? A lot of these guys don't make sense, like Doc or Steele. Ryan Johansson, that's interesting. We were thinking about Ryan Johansson early on in the franchise mode. Fits the third line, though. Not ideal. We got guys who fit the second line. Bailey fits the first. Wenberg fits the second. Alex Wenberg here, 77 faceoffs. 4 years at 4.27, though. Whoever we get for the second line is likely not staying for more than 2 seasons. Even that's pushing it, because Rossi's going to grow very quickly. Thomas Hertl fits the third line. I'm going to give all these guys a quick look over. So the only players who fit the second line, guaranteed, are Elias Lindholm, Alex Wenberg, and Eric Stahl. So, and sorry, and Nick Foligno, but I'm not taking on a 3-year, $4.6 million contract. Eric Stahl, we could go back and get him again after he forsook us and left us in free agency. In theory, we could go out and try and get him again. That would really be just another Band-Aid type of thing, though. Wenberg could be on this team a bit long-term. I'm really tempted by Elias Lindholm, though. I'm really tempted by him. 86 overall, 3 more years at 4.8, a playmaker, 83 faceoffs, fits second line, fits the penalty kill lines. I don't know. Does it make sense for Calgary to trade us Sean Monahan last year and Elias Lindholm this year, though? Like, who else do they have at forward? They have Goudreau, they have Tkachuk, Dylan Dubé. They don't really have anybody on this team. It really drops off. It really drops off. And Elias Lindholm is definitely their first-line center. What are they? They're sellers with a under 500 record. If we gave them good prospects, maybe it would make sense. But even then, pushing it. Like, if I were to give them Alvin Burrows, who we drafted fourth round last year with the medium elite potential, and then also throw in Eriksson Ek, I think that's more than enough to get it done. Would that make a lot of sense, though? We give them a medium elite prospect and a guy who can play their first-line center down the road. Eriksson Ek, we like Eriksson Ek here. First-round pick back in 2015. But it's just, it seems like it's always been a mix-up with Eriksson Ek. He seems like a two-way defensive kind of guy, yet he's a sniper. He scores 10 goals, only 2 assists. He's bad defensively, yet he has the 4-star defense. He only fits our first line, and I don't know if I ever see him making our first line, because our first line is pretty much locked in at Kaprizov, Monahan/Rossi, and then someone for the right wing. So already a sniper two-way somebody, or sniper playmaker somebody. I don't know. It might be time to move on from him, but is this the move to make if we're going to move on from him? Maybe we trade Eriksson Ek to the Canadiens instead in that Suzuki deal. I just don't want to cheese them too badly here, but if they want to make it, they want to make it. We still have a second, a third, a fourth, 2 fifths. We could throw in a 5th and a 7th to just try and make ourselves feel a bit better, maybe. Alvin Burrows. He had the medium elite potential, but 19 years old, 49 overall, that does not bode well. Playing in La Liga, 3 games, no points. This year, 12 games, no points. That's tough. 6 feet tall, two-way forward. I really doubt he's going to grow. It's just a question of when do we move him, and I guess his value is never going to be higher than it is now. Eriksson Ek could be a big piece for Calgary in the future. Plus, they get a medium elite prospect and 2 low-level picks. Lindholm becomes our second-line center. Suzuki could play right wing. Then that means Greenway, Fiala, Danault on the third line. And then where does Marcus Johansson go, right? So maybe Marcus Johansson is the guy that we trade over to the Canadiens with draft picks or something like that. But we'll see if Calgary even wants to do it. 3 years left at a great contract. Calgary, what do you say? Wow. Trade accepted. Trade accepted. Calgary, thanks for all the love you've given us. Monahan and now Lindholm. Friends reunited. It's a big price to pay, so we didn't cheese them too badly. We more cheesed them in the way that they lost 2 great players, but their return was not bad. Dumba, Zuccarello, Eriksson Ek, and that medium elite prospect as well. Wow, I'll fix the roster, then we'll go back to the trade screen in a second. And here's another great thing about Lindholm. Whenever Rossi's ready to come up to the NHL, or no matter what happens down the middle, he plays right wing as well. So putting Elias Lindholm on the right wing and somebody else at center, no problem. So that could be a big fix for us long term, especially whenever Parise retires and if we have to move on from Hoffman eventually within the next couple of seasons. But now my question is, do we even go after Nick Suzuki? Because look at this. If we put Zach Sanford on the second line, bang, +3 right there. Hoffman, he fits that. He really fits the second line. So maybe Zach Sanford playing on the second line with that high top, or actually just top 6 now, with that top 6 potential. Maybe that works out here with the +3. Suzuki as a playmaker who fits the second line, either give it a +3 or a +1, but it would add to the crowdedness here on this team. And I don't know if I want more crowdedness, because whenever Boldy and Rossi come up, that means 2 roster guys got to go. And that's like roster guys within the top 9. So take out Sanford and put Boldy, and then I guess, I don't know, take out Fiala or Danault and put Rossi, and it's still pretty crowded here. Greenway's not moving. I like Greenway very much. Especially if he plays that first line someday, he can get +3 with Monahan, and I don't know, we'll work something out. But yeah, I don't think we're going to make the move for Suzuki just yet. I'm not saying no. long term or even in this episode. Maybe at the trade deadline we revisit it. But I want to try simulating a little bit just with Lindholm at center and Sanford on the wing. So I do apologize for how discombobulated I seem to be, but I was really not expecting this to happen. Usually I have my game plan ready to go. So pretty much we could roll +3, +3, +1, or +3, +1, and 0 if we put Greenway up there. We got the sniper playmaker power forward combo, but the line fit is not there, unfortunately. So I think we'll try it like this with Sanford. We're not going to go after Suzuki just yet. Johansson's buried on the 4th line, unfortunately. Doesn't really fit anywhere else, and then or it would necessitate moving somebody else down who I don't want to. Special teams, Lindholm comes in for Eriksson Ek, and he gets, by the way, a check mark and a dash. And on penalty kill, he does fit, but he's a playmaker. So we had Bennett as a two-way forward, giving it a +1. Now Lindholm, even though he has a check mark, he gives it a 0. But I'll take the 86 with the 0 over the 82 with the +1. And I guess we'll continue like that. We'll see how Lindholm does now on the Wild. We'll see how Zach Sanford does up on the second line, and we'll take it as we go. But definitely looking to move Marcus Johansson more likely than not as we are continuing to move forward here. Big move. I'm sorry that the team doesn't really look as much as it did when we took it over. Just Kaprizov, Parise, Fiala, Greenway, Bonino, Johansson, who are left in the forwards. Only Suter on defense. So it wasn't my plan at the start, but this team required an overhaul, and if that's what it needed to become a contender and win Stanley Cups, and that's what it needed. So we'll play a few games with these changes made. Keeping note that Sanford has 3 goals, 4 assists, and a +5. And we'll do like 10 games, and we'll see how that second line is simulating with Hoffman. Let's do like 9 games, and we'll go up to see the Panthers, who are 18-7-7 at the moment. 3-2 loss against the Coyotes, 6-5 overtime loss. Those are tough against the Canucks. 6-1 win against Dallas. All right, we're back in the win column after some big wins we had the week before with the 7-1, 7-1. 5-3 loss against a strong Oilers team. 2-1 win against an even stronger Avalanche team, I believe. Predators and Rangers back-to-back. 3-2, 3-2 back-to-back wins of the exact same score. And then a 3-2 overtime win. All right, so 22-14-2 at the moment, up against the 22-10-7 Florida Panthers. Mike Hoffman going up against the team that drafted him back in the day. Let's see it. Early goal from Kaprizov on the first shot of the night. First period ends 1-1 as Jonathan Huberdeau ties it up. Second period 2-1 as Owen Tippett, who's there in the rookie race. Actually, I think it's his second season now. I'm thinking of be a pro in the rookie race. But 2-1 Florida heading into the third. We're outshooting them by a few. But Bobrovsky has shut the door ever since allowing that first shot of the night. 5-on-3 power play, 5-on-4. We kill all of those off. Another power play to kill off. We do it again. The penalty killer's working overtime. And then Ryan Murray ties it up 2-2 against his old teammate on the Blue Jackets, Sergei Bobrovsky. 3 minutes to go now, tied at 2. Will there be a hero late? Are we headed to overtime? Yes, we are. Being outshot by a couple. Can we get another hero in overtime all the way back in game number 1 of the season? No, we're headed to the shootout. Shots tied at 27, and the winner of this one will be the Florida Panthers as Alexander Barkov scores the lone goal, and that'll be an SOL. Big night for Merzlikins, but once again was just not enough as Bobrovsky closed the door. But 3-2 scoreline is really being perpetuated. And we'll go through the game against the Ottawa Senators. That'll be game number 10, and then we'll take a pause against the Islanders to reassess. 4-1 win. Beautiful. So Kaprizov keeping up the pace of going 5 points over a point per game. Monahan's pulling away, so is Parise. Sergachev looking great. Elias Lindholm, he's a -12 on the season. And, 4 assists and a -6. Yikes. So I guess that Sanford experiment was not great. He had 3 goals, 4 assists, +5. Now he has 3 goals, 6 assists, +2. So he was a -3 with 2 assists in the last 10 games. So I think we'll move him off of the second line. That was an experiment we tried, didn't work. And everybody else is looking half decent. Fiala's okay for the third line as well. We're going to see if we can get Fiala back on the second line maybe. Because once Hoffman leaves, I really want Fiala to be up there. Even Greenway, I want them both to really develop. Let me see right here. Fiala gives it a +1. And I believe if we go to Johansson, it's also a +1. So it's really anyone between Greenway, Fiala, or Johansson would give it a +1. I'm going to try putting Fiala up there with Lindholm as a playmaker. And then Sanford, Johansson, Danault, Greenway on the third line. Sanford, Bonino, Bennett on the fourth. Sanford moving back down. So we'll keep it like that. Defense, how's it looking? +6, +9, +9, +9, +5, +6. All right. Very good. Botter still at a 79 as well. And the scratches are here. Alex Stalock, 898 save percentage, 2.68 goals against. He's starting to slip a little bit, but still a 9-1-1 record. Can't knock him too much on that. And Elvis, 14-10-2. Not a fantastic record either, which is actually, Stalock has the record and not the numbers, whereas Lincoln seems to have the numbers but not the record. But with that second line tweak now, we were having some good success. Let's see if we'll have even more. Now, January 1st, 2022, maybe it's the Winter Classic here in Minnesota. Let's go see it against the Islanders, who are 15, 16, and 7 at the moment. Not having a great year, as they're always trying to sell everybody. First period, 1-1. Bellows, I love Kiefer Bellows, and Kevin Fiala. Second period, 3-1. So Fiala got us that nice goal in the second line, but then Beauvillier on the penalty kill they were on, they score shorthanded, and Uncle Leo 3-1. We're outshooting them 24-13, I believe, at the start of the period there. Still down by 2, exchanging power plays. They don't go anywhere. And then Cal Clutterbuck extends that lead to 3. Varlamov shutting the door here on New Year's Day. Power play late, goes nowhere. 32-19 are the shots for Minnesota. But we are going to drop this game 4-1 the final. 35-21 the shots. Varlamov easily the first star of the night. And not kicking the year off, the start of the new year, on a high note. But let's just get right back to work. Let's go for an Eastern Conference matchup. I'm interested to see how the Penguins are doing. I want to go see Sid and the Pens. Gino, of course, all the good players who simulate very well. 2-1 loss against the Hurricanes, and then they want to give me a third and a fourth for John Merrill and Zdeno Chara. Not going to happen. 3-2 loss. Second and a sixth for Merrill and Chara. Not going to happen. So a couple of losses by 1 goal, then a 5-1 win. We come right back. 24-17-3 at the moment against the 25-15-3 Penguins, another team that has a very similar record to us. Before we'll move into February and fix the scouting, go see Calgary as well. First period, there we go. Mikhail Sergachev on the power play against Marc-Andre Fleury back on the Penguins. You love to see it with 1 second left in the period. Second period, 1-1. Jake Gensel ties it up. Shots are 27-12 for Minnesota, but this game is tied at 1. Power play early in the third, killed off by the Penguins penalty killers. Nick Bonino, former Penguin as well. Any other former Penguins on the team? Don't think so. 1-1 late here. Shots 32-19 with under 5 to go now. Low scoring affair, and Philippe Danault breaks it against his fellow countryman, Marc-Andre Fleury, a countryman, I should say province man, of both of the province of Quebec, as we take it with 3 minutes and 20 seconds left to go. Philippe Danault gives us the winner. Shots were 36-26 at the end of this one. Big win. Fleury really stood on his head, making 34 saves, but Elvis 25 and Danault the GWG. Phil Danault, so underrated. Love Phil. And the Blues have fired their head coach. First head coach firing of the season. Let's get another few weeks done. We'll move into February. We'll go see the Flames, and then we'll pause to update the scouting. A third, a fourth, and Chara for a second and a fourth. No, not needed. Don't need to do that. We haven't really had any defensive injuries, thank goodness. Honka hasn't really gotten any chance to play since the beginning of the season, since Sergachev came in. 6-1 win against the Jets after we beat them 5-1 a few days prior. Will Bitton injured, no problem. 3-2 loss against the Maple Leafs, 4-2 loss against the Sharks, then a 6-2 loss, yikes, before the All-Star break. We go into the All-Star break with a 3-game losing streak on our hands. Ryan Murray's Zdeno Chara and 2 sevenths for Brock Nelson, Josh Bailey, and a third. What kind of money? Do you think I can just take on $11 million like that for 3 to 4 seasons? Come on. Will Bitton's back. We'll slot him back in. There we go. Rossi, by the way, up to a 79 overall with 32 points in 46 games. Yeah, looking very nice down in Iowa. All-Star break comes to an end. We take on the Red Wings, 4-3 shootout loss. A couple of back-to-backs here in the Central Division against the Predators and the Blues, and they result in 2-1 shootout win and 4-3 shootout loss. So coming into February now, we have a record of 27-20-5. We'll be playing the 23-23-5 Calgary Flames. Leading our team in points is Sean Monahan, formerly of the Calgary Flames, 55-52. Kaprizov with 53-52. He's close to passing his career high. He has 30 more games to get it done. Zach Parise, 50-48. You love to see it. Lindholm, what's going on over here? The plus minus is, yeah, okay, 13 points in 22 games is great, but the -8s is really weird. Is it because of Kevin Fiala? I don't know. Mikhail Sergachev, really surprising me. 32 points in 49 games. My goodness. His career high is 40 points back in his rookie season, and since then he's never gotten more than 34, and he's about to surpass that in close to half a season. Mike Hoffman, really weird from Mike Hoffman. Very, very, very weird from Mike Hoffman. 31 points in 52 games is okay, but 8 goals when last year he scored 30 and 82? That's not making sense to me. I don't know why he's not ripping that puck. Kevin Fiala has 30 points. Ryan Murray, 30 points. Dano, 27. Johansson, 24, not bad. Greenway, 24, not bad. Sanford hasn't scored since we changed him back to the fourth line. Bennett, 10. Benino, 9. And the plus-minuses down here are passable. Goalies now. Elvis, 18, 13, and 3 with 1 shutout. 9-14 save percentage. 2.46 goals against. And Stalock, 9, 4, and 2 with a shutout. I'd almost go get a better backup, but it's like, I have 2 backups right now who are just not cutting it. Do I go ahead and trade one of them? Maybe Alex Stalock gets traded? Because either way, Kakman's our backup next season, at least to start next season. But at the moment, what does Stalock want if we were going to extend him? He does want to extend, but that'd be really cheap as well. It would not cost a lot to get Stalock. But let's see how we can do up against the Calgary Flames. Eriksson Ek, Zuccarello, Dumba, all against their old friends here. Monahan, Lindholm against theirs. Leavo's down in the minors, so he's not going to be able to get in on the action. First period, 0-0. Second period, 1-1. Mike Hoffman on the power play for us, his 9th goal of the season. And Johnny Hockey for the Flames. 1-1 here in the third period. Dubé makes it 2-1. He's probably playing first-line minutes without any centerman out there. Power play, and Elias Lindholm comes right back right after the penalty ended. 2-2, close to a shorthanded one there. Elias Lindholm against his old team. Power play, Calgary late. We kill it off. Just about 5 to go now. Shots tied at 24. Will there be a hero late? Power play late for the Wild, but it gets killed off and we're headed to overtime. Great penalty kill from the Flames. Is anyone going to end it in overtime? Oh no, Dubé with 9 seconds left. Far out shot for 3-on-3. That's a bad goal to let through. As Dylan Dubé scores his second of the night, and we drop it in overtime. 2 goals for him. Markstrom, 31 saves. Goal and an assist for Hoffman. As we're now 27, 20, and 6. We're gonna go up to the 6th. I think that's when the scouting reports end. We'll just go to the 6th right there. So I'll take a pause here to go fix the scouting. All right, scouting update's all done. And although we don't have a first or a third, our own first or third, we do have our own second and a third from, is it Pittsburgh? But either way, we'll try to probably move into the first round because there are some nice prospects, especially within the top 10. We'll see what we do. That's far away. That is far away. For now, we want to get closer to the trade deadline and figure out, you already know by the length of this video, but we'll try to figure out if we're going to be stopping to reevaluate or if we're just going to power through to the end of the season. The 4-3 win, if things are looking great, there's no reason to stop, but a backup goalie is definitely something I want to look at the very least. 4-3 win, 5-1 win, another matchup against Calgary, this one we win. 3-2 win against the Canadiens. 3-1 win against the Leafs, okay. Columbus Blue Jackets, Elvis's old team, 6-5 shootout loss. They have a terrible record, but we let in 5 goals against them and then lose in the shootout. 4-3 loss, 5-4 shootout win. 1 week later, take on Columbus again with a 25-32 and something record. Mason Shaw's out for a bit. Head coach replace. 5-2 win this time, then an 8-3 win. Wow. So 34, 21, and 7 is the record 1 day before the deadline. 37 goals and 67 points for Kirill Kaprizov at this point, already passing his previous career high. We're 1 point behind Colorado for the lead in the division, and we are in third of the Western Conference, and in totality of the NHL, we are currently in 5th. Florida running away with it at 39, 14, and 10. Wow. And we are 34, 21, 7, of course, as we mentioned. Power play, we're at 20.2%. One of the better ones in the league, a bit down, closer to the middle, but on the better half. And for penalty kill, we're also a bit further down, higher. 83.1 puts us on the higher half, though. So definitely good on the special teams. Not really any big issues, not crazy flashy, but still looking fine. player stats at the moment. Kaprizov 67, like we said. Monahan, Parise, both over a point per game. Elias Lindholm still at that negative 16 and 46 points, though. He's doing well with us. 23 points in 32 games, yet still a negative 10. Fiala 38 in 62. Mike Hoffman also 38. And Ryan Murray also 38. Sergachev going behind a little bit now, down 34. Danault picking it up at 36. Johansson 31. Greenway. They're doing well in that third line. Johansson and Greenway, that's a good third line. Benino 15, getting it done on that fourth line. He has a decent amount of time on per, 10.5 minutes per night with the penalty kill. Botter and Chara looking good, 11 and 8 points respectively, plus 13, plus 14. The old man's teaching him a few tricks. And yeah, that's pretty much it on goalies. 25, 13, and 5 is Elvis. 9-13 save percentage, 2.49 goals against. Stalock 9, 5, and 2. Not optimal. Kakinen, we have him signed long term. I think we have to part ways with Stalock, to be honest. Even though he's like the longest serving member of the team, I think. Is he, or would Suter and Parise beat that? If we go look at the record book here, 10 seasons for Parise. I guess goalies don't count, I suppose. Yeah, I guess. So Parise currently extending his record, just keeps on getting better in his goal lead of the franchise with 242 goals in his career. But Koivu still with the points, seasons, assists, games played, all that good stuff. Suter's coming up behind him. And if we look at season records, anything new in the season records, Sean Monahan with 53 assists, that's already a new record, and the season's not even over yet. But Sean Monahan has already broken a season record with the Minnesota Wild. Rookie season, anything else? Kaprizov with his 35 goals. That I guess that's last year? That's weird because it says last year, 2021, but then for Monahan it says 2021 as well, but he currently has 53 assists. Unless he also had 53 last year? Not sure. And then for game, no new game records. Probably good to end it here just to do our due diligence. Don't want to make every episode an hour long. So at this point, we can take a little bit of extra time here and look through every trade block in the league so we know everything that's available. Here are the trade values on the team right now. Sergachev, look at that value. Kaprizov, Monahan, everyone looking great. Obviously, Johansson's value has dropped way down here, which makes a lot more sense. I didn't want to capitalize on his value and scam the system, really. Maybe Sam Bennett's someone we move. He has the potential. The teams want him. He hasn't been doing much down that fourth line. I don't know. Kevin Fiala. I'm not sold on Fiala, but neither am I really sold. It's more like the plus minus that I'm not sold on him for. And for the goaltending, trade value still the same. No value for our good rookies here. A slap in the face. So what we'll do here is go through the trade blocks of every team, then check out goalies that are also available afterwards, sorting by overall for guys who could make the lineup. Not sure if we'd make any changes for forwards and defense, but Phil Kessel. Ooh, Phil Kessel on the block. 28 goals, 23 assists this season. Fits the third line. And all power play. Oh, that's tempting, eh? On last year of a deal as well. Ooh, boy. That is tempting. Patrice Bergeron's on the block. Last year of his deal as well at a 90 overall. Fits the second line. Hey, how about... Maybe Patrice Bergeron would have been a better idea for the second line. I'm not sure if he was on the block before, but maybe Patrice Bergeron would have been a better idea for the second line. I don't know. Would that be wild if we go get Patrice Bergeron from the Bruins and then trade Lindholm back to the Flames to restore balance and then go trade Eriksson Ek if we get him back to the Bruins for Bergeron? I don't know. What do you guys think about Patrice Bergeron? Kovalchuk also on the block. Very reminiscent of last season when we picked him up at the trade deadline and went on and he won the Conn Smythe Trophy to get the Stanley Cup. Boston is very interesting for a few reasons. Mikko Koivu there as well. Buffalo nobody. Calgary, Tanev, and Tyler Ennis. No one on the Hurricanes. Yoel Armia. Look at that trade value for Yoel Armia. We said last episode that we love Yoel. 34 points in 62 games. Where's he playing? Playing third line? Pfft, that's crazy. Bowers, Foodie, Chusov on the Avalanche. Max Domi. Low value for Max Domi. Last year of his deal. Fits the first line. Playmaker. Interesting. Max Domi. He's out there. Delandria Classic on the Stars. Adam Larson available on the Red Wings, and he fits all defensive pairings. We were also thinking about Chalowski on the Red Wings. Does he fit? What does he fit over here? He fits top 4D and all penalty kill. That would be interesting as well. Moritz Seider, do we know about him? Top 4D pairs. tempting. Keep that in mind. Broberg on the Oilers. Lundell over there on the Florida Panthers. Brown, Carter, Mata, Ferk. That's not going to happen. Petrie's on the block here. 4 years left on his deal. Fits the third deep pair. Yeah, it's probably not going to happen. No one really on the Predators. Krejci over there on the Devils. He fits the second line. Maybe. We don't know as much, eh? Power play and penalty kill. That's not going to happen, I don't think. Stone's value went back down to earth. Bailey, Nelson, Lee, Eberle, Pajot. Over on the Rangers, Matthew Robertson, Schneider, Ottawa, nobody. Philadelphia, Cam York, Isaac Ratcliffe. Those are decent prospects there. Getting a bit up in age for Ratcliffe especially. But Cam York, interesting. Created player, Cam York. Samuel Poulain and, what's his name? What's, Justin? Josh. Joshua, of course not. Josh Williams. Carl Soderberg. Belmar. Parayko. There's Spurgeon. How's he doing so far, Spurgeon, on the Blues? 25 points and a -5. He's on the block. So is Parayko and David Perron. Tyler Johnson, Kachuk, all these guys. Is Victor Rask on the block anymore? Did they get rid of him? What's Tampa? Let me see Tampa Bay here. They're still in the same cap situation. That's, poor guys. Jay Bouwmeester, Braden Coburn, Justin Hall on the Maple Leafs. Godet still on an RFA status. Krebs, Leschizzen, Vegas, Haas, and Luke Green. No one really of import. No one big on the Jets there. Now I'll just quickly look through all the goalies in the NHL. Whether they be on the block or not, just looking at value. Rene and Nedeljkovic are both options if we're looking at a backup. Jonathan Bernier, Yaroslav Halak, even Antti Ranta, but that's too many years. Yeah, 4 years left. But Yaroslav Halak, that would be interesting. Halak, what kind of numbers does he have? Decent numbers. Yaroslav, 36 years old. Get him that Stanley Cup. Pekka Rine's numbers look like this if you wanted to compare. Brian Elliott starting here on the Sabres. Not great numbers for him. Markstrom, Reimer backing him up on Calgary. Could go take more from Calgary. Reimer, good numbers. Could try to get more from Calgary. Charlie Lindgren backing up there. Dubnyk is here. He has okay numbers. Malcolm Subban is injured. Grubauer, Francouz. How's Cam Talbot doing? Oh my goodness, terrible from Cam Talbot. Yikes. Bishop, McElhaney. How's McElhaney looking? Not good either. Grice. Grice is looking good. Those are good numbers from Thomas Grice. 22, 14, and 6. 5 shutouts. Very nice numbers. Detroit, what are they? 33, 20, and 8. It wouldn't make as much sense if they traded Grice. Mike Smith, maybe that would make more sense. Yeah, maybe Mike Smith. 39 years old. Good numbers as well. Okay. Oilers. Sorokin is on the Oilers, backed up by Mikko Koskinen, who has okay numbers. Bobrovsky, not a lot of trade value. And then Montembeault, too much value. Great numbers, though. Quick. We're not going to take Jonathan Quick, are we? 2 years left? I don't think so. Sub 900 save percentage. See you later. Even Kudobin's here. Cal Peterson's on the block. Cal Peterson, good numbers in the AHL. Very good numbers for the AHL, actually. 83 overall. Maybe Cal Peterson could be a guy that we go for. Also on an expiring deal. Canadians, they have Caden Primo and Jake Allen. Good numbers for Caden Primo. Great numbers for him down in Laval. Yeah, there's a few guys who are being relegated. That's why they could be... Ooh, even Jake Allen. There's a few guys who are getting relegated to the AHL who may want to make a move, and that would be more realistic. Jake Allen has good numbers. Yaroslav Askarov. They only have 3 goalies in the system here. That's weird. Connor Ingram, tough numbers there. Starter potential. Mackenzie Blackwood's backing up Corey Crawford. That wouldn't make as much sense. Varlamov. Allmark here. Allmark. Good numbers from Allmark. Very good numbers from Allmark on the Islanders. Good numbers from Linus Allmark. I've said good numbers a million times here. Gorgiev, not great. Kincaid is still here, and he has his picture updated from Lundqvist's twin brother. Great. Matt Murray. Aiden Hill was a possibility. He looks pretty good. 922 and 2.26 goals against. Aiden Hill. We can pretty much get any of these guys with no value. Aaron Dell. Good numbers from Aaron Dell. A lot of backups who are looking good. Jerry, and that wouldn't make sense. So maybe DeSmith would make sense. Not great numbers for the AHL, though. Probably a bad team down in Scranton. Freddie Demko, no. Martin Jones down in the AHL. Yikes. St. Louis, Ville Husso. No one there. Jack Campbell. This is their goaltending in Toronto? great numbers from Jack Campbell somehow, but okay. What's their record? 33, 23, and 6. Okay. Carter Hutton and Jack Campbell. Michael DiPietro looks okay. We don't really want someone with too much potential because Kakinen and Hunter Jones are there to come up. Peter Mrazek, it looks okay. Oscar Dansk got a 78. Here's Henrik Lundqvist, probably the best value kind of guy here, bang for your buck with 85 overall and that low of value. Numbers aren't the greatest, but overall is the highest. But probably better to go by numbers. I don't know. Phoenix Copley looking great down in Hershey. Man, there's a lot of good options. Then lastly on the Jets here, well, no. So a lot of good options, guys. That's why we're going to stop here at the deadline. I got to hear from you. What do you think we should do? Remember that the forward lines look like this. Should any changes be made to them? Elias Lindholm, I still feel bad for stripping him away from Calgary, but he fits great. Do we try and trade him back to restore balance and then pick up Patrice Bergeron? I don't know, because it's going to depend a lot on Marco Rossi. Marco Rossi is very likely our third-line center next year. So I don't know what's going to... Phil Danault probably not coming back. Love Phil Danault, but that's why we signed him to a one-year contract, because we knew that Rossi was coming in. And if we went to our contracts and wanted to offer any extensions at the moment, all expiring, Chara does not want. He's going to probably retire anyways. He would want $5 million. Phil Danault would be wanting 4.5. That's why I wouldn't really probably be able to get him. We have only 12.4 in extension, by the way. So Fiala, maybe we want to extend him next episode before he wants too much. Can probably get him at 3 years at around 4-ish million. Zach Sanford, I don't know if he's coming back. Nick Bonino, I'd like to bring him back for the fourth line. 1.5 is probably doable. Honka doesn't want the extension. He'll just probably walk. And for Stalock, if we were going to re-sign him, he still wants only a sub 1 million, pretty much a league minimum contract. So that's where we find ourselves at the deadline, my friends. Remember the guys who are watch listed. We were talking about Suzuki. Barzal's value bounced back up. Rozovic a ton of value. Teravainen's value bounced back up. So if you're gonna, it seems like if you're gonna make a move like that, it has to be at the start of the season. Suzuki's value has bounced back up as well. Fox, Bean, Kravtsov, Brett Pesce. Still not a lot of value from Brett Pesce for a very good defensive defenseman. Fits all pairings. Jakub Vrana, not a lot of value from him. Probably fits the second line. Yeah, there's still options out here. Lawton doesn't fit the lines, but he's good defensively. And Ilya Kovalchuk. So many options. That's why I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say. Sorry for the late upload. It's a bit of a different one this week since I had to wait and see what everybody said in the comments section. So Sergachev, we got him done. But this will be a Saturday upload, and the next episode of Franchise Mode will be on Wednesday, which will allow me to hear all of your thoughts heading into the end of the season, and then we can just hop into the playoffs without any other suggestions needed. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying the series. I hope the Wild are looking good and as you would want them to look. We've made many moves since the beginning of taking over the team, and many moves even since winning the Stanley Cup. But we're going to try to repeat. It's not always necessarily the goal to try and win the Cup every season, but it looks like we're looking pretty solid, and we want to do as well as we can for the franchise and for the state of Minnesota, of course. So if you're not already subscribed, make sure that you are. You'll be made aware of all the uploads here on the channel, whether it be the Minnesota Wild, the Be a Pro series, the career simulations, the NHL tutorials, all that good stuff, and other gaming things. A lot of my other gaming stuff's on the back burner because of all the NHL actions going on, especially on Franchise Mode. But be sure that you are subscribed and made aware of all of the links down in the description for the Discord server, the Twitter page, and for the Twitch channel, streaming on Monday and Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern as of now for the schedule. So thanks again so much for watching, and I look forward to reading your thoughts and seeing you in the next one.